Welcome to Strangeville. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Strange. I am a 20-year veteran of the underground, a cartoonist, novelist, independent filmmaker, and I am here today to share my love of comic books with you all at home. How cool is that? And today I've got a very special guest. I am joined by my friend, the great comic book PhD, Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
What do
sir.
we got on the docket today?
Well, you know that I'm just a nut about From Hell, right? That's not it's not a secret.
Right.
Well, I thought it would be cool to look at the From Hell companion, right? Because a lot of people all know about the regular From Hell comic, all
Okay.
9 pages or whatever. The From Hell companion, though, this is more for more like a creator stream, I guess, because it gives us, this is Eddie Campbell telling us about creating the work, talking about interacting with Alan Moore, the scripts, the legendary, novel length scripts for an issue. I thought that would be really cool to go over that.
See, a
And
lot, but a lot of people, Dr. Ben, they don't know what From Hell is, and they don't know how Alan Moore writes. So we'll get into all that, right? We're gonna tell those at home curious about this Jack the Ripper story, all about the eccentric Alan Moore and his and the way he makes comics. But you got something else there, don't you?
yeah, I've got my own true crime goth comic called Let Us Get. There might be a couple copies left of this on the eBay. This is the preview ash can. I'll have the actual, the crowd fund for the actual full size comic will be up. If it's not when this goes up, it'll be up shortly. But that's the comic I'm working on. My own story of horrific satanic murder, and mixed in with some light coverage of modern day international affairs and the presidential race. So a whole bunch of non-controversial and easygoing news and comics. I expect to I expect to have a blowout sale, but I'll have that. I've got that up on my Substack, drben.substack, and
Link in the description to that
I'll
Substack.
have also my zine from a couple years ago, From Hell is Fake News, which was originally it was for a Jack the Ripper conference over in Northampton. Right, it was at the University of Northampton. Then eventually it was canceled. But I was super excited because Northampton is where Alan Moore literally lives. You know, so not that I would expect him to come down to the conference, but I made my whole story about how I just covered a lot of my own thoughts about From Hell. It is his comic along with Eddie Campbell, their account of not really the true, obviously the true account of Jack the Ripper. Nobody knows who he was, right? It was a murder spree back Victorian age London, 1888, and they never caught the killer, right? So there's all sorts of different suspects. It's a whole field of true crime research, and so he went into it using at the time there had been a comic that was or not a comic, but a book that had proposed that it was a royal conspiracy, right? That there was a
Yeah.
bastard of Prince whoever, right?
Yeah.
That somehow these women all knew of it somehow. They knew the mother of the child or whatever, and so that was why that was the book. And so that's what Alan Moore based a lot of his version. He actually pull up From Hell itself here, right?
Well, before we get any further into today's episode,
Yeah,
As the
you
late
know,
great Ed Piskor would say, we are brought to you by these videos are brought to you by the comics that we make. It is October. It is Monster Month, and that means I have a brand new comic book out called Count Kefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville. You can read this 28-page splatter gore underground comic right now for a subscription of only $3 a month at the Patreon. Link in the description. You can read the digital version right now if you're into underground cartoonists like Alan Moore or Robert Crumb. Yes, Alan Moore was a an underground cartoonist, and we have a video covering that whole thing. If you're into Spain Rodriguez, if you're into S. Clay Wilson or Gilbert Shelton, you'd definitely be into the Strangeville comics, including Count Kefula. I'm also doing a print version, a small run of the print comics are going to be available at the link in the description. I'm doing the pre-order through Halloween, October 31st, and you get this big, beautiful 11 by 17 poster for free along with the comic book if you pre-order between now and Halloween. It's only $12. We are marching dangerously close. You could even say we're clawing our way out of small channel hell towards that coveted 1,000 subscribers. Less than 130 subscribers to go. About 40% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, click that button. And let me tell you, Dr. Ben, you're going to get a free copy, a free digital copy of Kevin Strange's Space Worms, my 164-page splatter gore opus. If you like crazy sex parties, like 80s horror comedy movies, sex party movies, these crazy little or small creature movies like Critters or Gremlins or the Munchies. These three little guys come smashing. These three little space worms come smashing to planet Earth, and of course in the peaceful town of Strangeville, and cram their way into the brains of these partygoers and start killing and fucking everybody, and it's just crazy splattery goodness. I'm going to give this away for free for a month after we hit that 1,000 subscribers goal. Gang, if you click that link to the physical version of Count Kefula, the $12 pre-order, that'll also take you to a page where you can buy all of my, not all of, but the ones that I currently have in stock. Too Many Dabs, all my comics, Too Many Dabs, Wizard of Ganj, Death to Strangeville, and more at the link in the description. Dr. Ben, from hell, take it away.
all right. Well, so what should it's where do you want me to start? You want me to introduce the comic itself?
I would do a little overview of the comic itself, yeah.
Yeah. Originally, this isn't even how it was originally released. It was originally started in the Taboo, right? A horror anthology called Taboo from Steve Bissette, right? The Swamp Thing, well-known Swamp Thing artist. And then they started collecting it in single issues. This was originally with Tundra. Issue 1 was Tundra, and then issue 2.
Yeah, Tundra famously owned and operated by Kevin Eastman of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fame.
And this was the second issue is by Kitchen Sink, because I think it was like Tundra was bought by Kitchen Sink, I think is what it was.
Dennis Kitchen Sink, Underground Comics.
So
another connection. I didn't realize. I guess I knew that, but I didn't put that together with Alan Moore drawing some underground stuff, and then also having his comic here released by Kitchen Sink. Or was it acquired? It was originally Tundra and then acquired by Kitchen Sink.
Yeah, I believe that it was. I should have gotten somewhere around here. I've got like the Wizard issue about this.
Well,
from back then, like the Tundra was bought by Kitchen Sink, and so like everything they had is going to be, like they were taking over all the production or whatever. I've never realized the swastika up there before. Salutation to Ganesa. And this is the thing, like, I'm apparently a ripperologist, right? Like, I'm like a studier of this Jack the Ripper stuff,
Not to
right?
be confused with a ripologist, which is a historian on the storied career of
Right.
Eric July.
Ripper. I am also a ripperologist too, though. So, but it was a good one. But one of the recent books that caused a hubbub was The Five, right? A novel by, or not a novel, but a historic, like a think about by this Hallie Rubenhold, and it was reported to be the untold lives of the women killed by Jack the Ripper, and it caused a stir. She was all definitely against them being killed. Uh, she said that they were not prostitutes. None of them were prostitutes, despite the one that was like a Swedish migrant or whatever was a registered prostitute in Sweden. But anyways, and that Mary Kelly was, like, I think that's been established as well. But anyways, that was her made everybody all upset, right? And she was like, well, no one ever focuses on the victims. No one ever focuses on these women that were murdered. It's horrible. It's, they're celebrating the murder. And it's like, that's not what any of this stuff ever is. Like, we look at the dedication. This book is dedicated to Molly Nichols, Annie Chapman, Liz Stride, Kate Eddowes, and Marie Jeanette Kelly. You and your demise of these things alone, are we certain? Good night, ladies. So, in the thing that I don't want to say like bothers me, but like the thing that people look at with this, or that like most people take away from like the From Hell, either the comic or the movie, is like, oh well, that's what happened. It was definitely the doctor and Netley or whatever. That, okay, that's who killed. Yes, that's probably what really happened. You know what I mean? Like, people come away with it from with that, like, like that feeling. If you were to ask, like, just like a random person who knew anything about the Jack the Ripper stories, right? Like, they always have that. Well, there's some people say, "What's the doctor?"
Right.
Queen's doctor. That's this whole thing, or that it was something with the Masons. If you get conspiracy people that you talk to, they're of course going to be the Masons. Like, it was definitely, and that's not like how he was trying to present it. You know what I mean? Like, in the interviews with him back then, he was like, I wanted to take like a definitely fake story and just make a version of that. You know what I mean? Like, he thought that like everyone agreed that like the royal conspiracy was fake, but like, right. No, that's not what people, you know what I mean? Like, almost the same way he was with thinking that like people would not like Rorschach, right?
Yeah.
It's like he has like an inverted view of like the audience in a way, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's interesting to see, like, that's what I mean, like, going over, like, studying all this stuff, because this is the thing, is like all through, he relates all these different stories, right? The prince, what's his name? Prince Eddie, I think it is, meeting a shop girl, and there are like all kinds of weird things that happen. Like, Prince Eddie was later found like in a brothel down there, like, so I mean, that's like things that you could definitely see happening. But the thing with the comic that, like, for the time, because like you got to remember, this is like 1988, 1989 that this is coming out, is it in the back of it, it has I'll show you some of the other stuff here that's really cool. But in the back of it, it has the appendix, right, where Alan Moore explains like the script. If there's everything that he has in here, he's based off of doing research. He puts, and that's in the back here is where he explains, like, the reason this happens here. The reason I have this character here is because of this police report or this book about the murders or whatever. And for the whole, that's how the whole series was. And it was for like a comic book at the time. Like that was like here's like they're presenting like a true crime comic book. Like it's not a and it's it's filled with its documentation. Like that's the whole. It's taking that comics as like a serious medium and trying to like really, what I mean. This meeting between Gull and Netley is my entirely my own invention, based upon their alleged subsequent partnership, as described in the final solution. Let me find another good one here. Like Gull married Susan, Colonel Lacey. Gull is, of course, Sir William Gull, the doctor, Queen's doctor. Married Susan, Colonel Lacey of Carlisle's daughter in 1848, according to his biography. Details of their wedding night, as presented here, are obviously fiction. I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's like so serious about it, but at the same
Meticulous.
point, like, yes, it's from Hell's specific association of Hawksmoor and the Dionysic architects is based upon. Oh, he goes into like all the stuff about the architecture of London and the architecture of this church, Hawksmoor's church or whatever. History of it, like there's all this bizarre, like just rabbit holes that he goes down about because of course the Masons are architects, right? And the idea is that the murders are working out a Masonic, like a Masonic murder ritual or something. You know what I mean? Like it's all. Once you start like going down it, it's like, oh, what the hell is all of this? Like a satanic sacrifice? What are these Masons?
Right.
No offense to any brother Masons out there, but so that's what I'm saying. It is a just for making comics. It was like at the time, it was like, of course, like well regarded. I mean, Alan Moore, of course. I don't need to introduce like Alan Moore as the writer of Watchmen and V for Vendetta and Violator and Bad Rock versus Violator. I don't think I need to introduce him as a well-regarded writer, but nonetheless he is. We have the Elephant Man in here. I have to think that back in when he was doing the research for this, I have to think that he was watching the Elephant Man movie from David Lynch.
The David Lynch movie, yeah.
He had to have been watching that because, like, not the Elephant Man doesn't make like a lot of appearances, but a couple. He does make a couple appearances here, and that is not to add further insult to the Elephant Man himself, Mr. What's his name? John Merrick, I believe is what his name was. But with this being Monster Month, he was most likely regarded as a monster, by probably small children, people that were seeing, would see him, his deformities. I mean, it's a horrible life. But anyways, true story too. But that's what I'm saying. You've seen the Elephant Man movie, right? Like,
oh
obvious.
yes, oh yes, sir. I've seen every
Well,
David Lynch movie.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, From Hell is just, and like the images in here. Of course, the Queen. What is that? Queen Victoria. And of course, the insinuation in the story is that she is ultimately behind the murders. Yeah, that's how you that's how you do the handshake there.
Oh.
So, for reference, I like in the background we have these creepy. What was that, like a statue or something in the back? I think there's a bit where like he has some sort of vision. Is it in this one? Yeah, like this image. He's walking around, Sir William Gull there, he's walking around at his country estate, and he sees, that's him down there, and he sees this giant vision of Jabulan, they call it. And that's what, I'm not really sure if this is like an actual, I haven't researched Masonic lore or whatever, but what an image. I mean, what on earth is that? You know, like this goat or something, or bull?
Yeah, really cool.
Fantastic. And it's supposed to be that they look out and he's having he falls to one knee, and they say he has a heart attack. That's what's happening to Dr. Gold out there. They find him and he's Jabulan. Oh, doctor.
How do you spell
Here's
that?
his broke.
How do you spell that?
Jabulan or whatever.
Yeah.
And here they're saying Jahbulon, but it seems to be more like what do you call that when they're making a sound than like a proper spelling? Because it has at first Juh, Jabulan.
All right.
Like,
Here's Wikipedia's.
oh yeah, there you go.
Here's
Might have
Wikipedia's explanation of it. Jabulan or Jabulahan, supposedly from Hebrew, is a word which is allegedly used in some rituals of Royal Arch Masonry and derivatives thereof. Non-Masonic author Stephen Knight alleged that Jabulan is a composite name for God, and even the name of a unique Masonic god, despite Freemasonry's official claim that there is no separate Masonic god, nor a separate proper name for a deity in any branch of Freemasonry. In England, no ritual containing the name has been in official Masonic use since February 1989.
wait.
We seem to have lost Dr. Ben. We started talking about Freemasons and the collab cam fell out. So let me see what's going on here. Yeah, Dr. Ben fell out. So let's see. Here he goes. He's back. So give me just a second. Sorry for the black screen.
Did I drop out or did you drop?
Yeah, you dropped out, Dr. Ben, but you're back. We're all good. Continue.
Okay. Okay, well, so that's that Stephen Knight that your thing just referenced there, your quote. That is the writer of the book, the Final Solution, that the Alan Moore based this theory on, right?
Okay.
Stephen Knight has also written much about apparently Masons and like what he feels may be their cult history. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
What did it say at the end there that name hasn't been used
Since 1989.
So before then.
So before then, it was used. In Duncan's Masonic Ritual and Monitor, published in the mid-19th century, Malcolm Duncan uses the word as a recognition password in his rendition of a Royal Arch degree. And then a footnote states that the word is a combination of secret names, or sacred names. However, there has been controversy regarding Duncan's ritual. According to Turnbull, Everett, and Denslow, Duncan has the candidate swear, I furthermore promise and swear that I will support the Constitution of the General Grand Royal Arch Chapter of the United States of America, whereas the General Grand Chapter at the time styled itself General Grand Chapter of Royal Arch Masons of the United States, a subtle but significant difference. Some Masonic authors state that even if Duncan's ritual is authentic, it is either an outdated exposure or that it has been superseded by another explanation. So that seems to be the Masonic God that is depicted there. And then
so there he is. That's he wants the blood of women, is what we learned from this. He has this vision, and that's what I'm saying. It's like the whole story is going off, just building off of this. Like, okay, well then, all of it. It's a conspiracy. With the police, the queen, the guard. All of them basically work together in order to find these women. And this is the other thing is that some of it is based at the end of the Stephen. Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like you can go with the writing. I think I showed this the other day too. I got the complete scripts for this for the first issue, or whatever. So the first. I think this is just of the first issue, or it might be the first two issues. If it's the first two issues, the script is like immense, right?
Hundreds of pages long.
Right. So, as an artist, what do you do? That's what I'm saying. This is what the From Hell Companion is kind of like. You're Eddie Campbell, right? And Alan Moore's sending you. That's your script for the first issue, buddy. Here you go. Get to popping, and you come up with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the artist. How are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, think about that. You transform this madness into this, and it's just perfect. Every page is. Well, that one looks kind of easy, actually.
That was he had the flu that day.
Yes, those are the easy pages. Well, maybe not a good idea. This is him going through a tunnel. Young Dr. Gull and his father. His father was a ferryman, I guess.
Listen, I got a wedding to go to this weekend, Alan. So I'm just gonna fucking put him in a tunnel, okay? You just deal with it. I'll get back to work on Monday. I'll do your goddamn 9-panel super detailed page on Monday.
Show you too. This is the other thing to think about with this is the stuff for Jack the Ripper. The original the actual murders were happening. Let me see if I've got. That was at the time. There was the Police News Illustrated. Right, that's how everyone learned about it. This would be the cover. There might be maybe paragraphs written inside. I think there might have been more. I would assume more illustrations inside. But this is a sketch of the supposed murderer. That these are, of course, the facsimiles. Is this? This is the fourth and most horrible murder in Whitechapel. And this, so that's what I'm saying. With his art, the way his art captures that same kind of feel. You know what I mean? They knew that selling this comic, a lot of it is going to be to people that are already into historical stuff, especially people into historical the Ripper stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could put those together. I mean, that looks like just another page in the comic, almost. Sure, you know what I mean? A little bit. You know what I'm saying? That is just the perfection of it. It looks just right out of history. And then he does weave in different stuff with I think it has the bit in here. Are we worried about spoilers? I'll give it.
No.
Spoiler. Okay. In the From Hell story, somehow she escapes at the end or whatever. Marie Kelly somehow escapes, and it's not her that is there at the last murder scene, right? Somehow it's a different lady, but no one can recognize her anyways because the body has been so horrifically just destroyed. but like he weaves in like stuff with the characters. You know what I mean? Like from this is the detective Aberline who's doing the case, and that's what I'm saying too. Is like becoming a ripologist. You just have to cover. You have to go back and look at how they made and learned how they dug it, right? Becoming a ripperologist, you got to go back. You got to find a book like this, Jack the Ripper and the London.
This
You
is
gotta
why we
find
call
all
this
this
is why we
stuff.
call Dr. Ben the PhD of Comics Gang. Look at this research the man does on these comic books.
This is Alan Moore's doing this to make his comics, and like that's what I'm saying. Like working myself for the Ripperologist magazine. This is the same thing. Like they asked me to do comics for that, and I was like, I need to up my game. And so like I've been getting these. I've been getting photo books from back, Victorian England photo books. Jeez, how newspapers covered the Jack the Ripper murders, and like I said, all of it is. This is all the same. Some of these might be newer. This is from 2005, but some of these books, I'm sure. Oh yeah, well, here's the final solution for Jack the Ripper. This is the book that Alan Moore had that he based the whole most of the From Hell comics were just kind of based on this. Like he added in a little bits here and there, might have changed a couple of like there's it's actually I was talking about this in a Ripperologist book the other day. At the end of this book, right, the Stephen Knight book, at the end of it is all based on him interviewing a man that claimed to be the son of Walter Sickert, right? Walter Sickert was a painter involved in this whole Jack the Ripper stories and everything, right? He actually painted pictures about Jack the Ripper later, right? Some of the different victims and stuff, like he painted pictures of them. I think there's a picture that he painted of the Mary Kelly murder scene, I believe. There's some, So it's supposed to be a son of that guy. He claims that he was the son that's in this book, right? There's the bastard son of what would it be? Annie Crooks and Prince Eddie or something. I think that's what it ended up being that he's trying to say. But anyways, it's supposed to be Stephen Knight interviewing this guy, and he's like, okay, well, your father told you all this story, right? And he has all these intimate details, but he's saying his father was this painter. He's like, how would he get all these details if he wasn't assisting with all the murders? Because all these intimate details of all the stuff with each crime and everything. And so it's like he recognizes at the end that it would have been not just Dr. William Gull, but it would be Dr. Gull, the painter William Sickert, and the cab driver Netley. It would have been like the three of them going out to go and murder these women. But it doesn't portray it as that. So it's almost like it follows the book, because the whole book explains it like this, as just Dr. Gull and Netley doing it. Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like it's interesting. Like once you start like looking into it, it's like you see that like almost like Alan Moore like laughing and stuff. Not like laughing, but like you almost see like him doing like jokes, and he puts in like bits about like different like little weird supernatural like ghosts that people see and stuff. There's a whole that might be, since we're not really worried about. It is horrific. Dead bodies. I'm just so animated. Like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing.
That's what we're here for, Dr. Ben.
I know. It's there's this scene at the end, right? Uh, if you watch the movie, there's a bit where he flashes like into like modern day or something. That's what I want to show because it's just interesting. It's like they have this idea that somehow Dr. Gull has become detached in time now that he has done this Masonic ritual and completed it. It has done some sort of change something. Man, I can't find it at all. How is that possible? Is this it? I think this is here. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so this is the last. That's what I'm saying. This is definitely the spoilers area because this is the heart of the From Hell book. I think you could say. Right, so he gets to the final, the worst, most horrific murder of them all. The Marie Jeanette Kelly murder, where she is in her room in her house, and the killer has come in and has just he removes like the flesh from everything. He's just she's almost unrecognizable as a human. And he's doing this, and he's first he starts, and he's talking like a doc, like he's doing a dissection as a doctor, right? He's like, beneath the fat of the upper thigh, we find the fascia. The sturdy membrane must be penetrated before we can cut into the muscle which encases. Muscles of the upper leg are thick, prime beef. It serves to conceal the femur, longest of our body's bones. Its globatic head fitted against the concave pelvic underside. Like I'm not really sure. Like, is that like a Mayan or no? That's like a Babylonian, maybe Syrian. That weird image of
yeah.
What is that?
Wow.
Some sort of evil god, definitely. And within what does he say? And with an Aiken strength, so that 1 cubic inch might easily withstand more than a ton of Babylon, the myth of Tiamat and Marduk, the Enema Elish extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. Like he's just gone completely insane as he's like having visions of So I guess that's supposed to be the myth of Tiamat and Marduk. I guess a Babylonian myth. He's having visions of like Babylonian gods, And then the next page, what does he say? These archetypal forms to become as gods. The Bacchanal hypothesis. It's almost as if the act itself, the act of violence, some trigger in the brain, and then like he turns around and he's now in a modern office building for some reason. Oh dear God. And he is now, that's what I'm saying, it's supposed to be that he has now transcended time. Dear God.
Right.
What is this aether I am come upon? What spirits are these laboring in what heavenly light? No, this is dazzle, but not yet divinity. There are these heathen wraiths about me, spirits lacking even their vitality. What then? Am I like St. John the Divine, vouchsafed a glimpse of the last times? Are these the days my death shall spare me? What? It just go you. And it would seem we are to suffer the apocalypse of cockatoos, morose barbaric children playing joylessly with their unfathomable toys. Where comes this dullness in your eyes? How has your century numbed you so? Shall man be given marvels only when he is beyond all wonder? Your days were born in blood and fires. Where have you and I may not see the meanest spark. Your past is pain and iron. Know yourselves. He's like standing on a chair. Like I could just imagine, this guy just in there, just crazy, covered in blood, screaming, and he's just
Waving a knife around.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's very upset. He's hugging her. He said, as often, killers and whatnot often have a exaggerated and completely fantastical idea of whatever, the reasoning behind all their stuff. But maybe not perhaps to this extent. But, I suppose that was at all the rage too at the time. That was when, like, what, Jeffrey Dahmer was all happening, 89.
Yeah.
And I can never think of what was the handsome one's name? Remember there was like the handsome serial killer?
Yeah. Uh, what was his name? Not Gacy. He was a clown. Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. Teamwork. Ripping the heart out of Marie Kelly and throwing it into the furnace or the fire to.
Ted Bundy was crazy. He went to court, represented himself, talked himself out of jail, and went and killed more people.
How is that even real? You know what I mean?
It
Like,
just seems so fake. That's real. Here we go. Here's some more Strangeville police coming through.
They heard us. I guess I kind of skipped over going over the. Well, this has a picture. Yeah, maybe that should be the. I'll show you some of the behind the scenes. There's pictures of like Alan Moore. Yeah, I'll show you that. Pictures of Alan and Eddie Campbell in. These are all the different covers. That's what I'm saying. I guess I kind of skipped over. But how do you explain the From Hell Companion? That's what I'm saying. It's like there's more than just this. Obviously, if you want to really get a whole picture of what he's doing with this whole comic, there's so much. Look at as an artist, you know what I'm saying? Like he's going through and just like recreating that. I mean, that's just he took the picture and then just he swiped from his own picture.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how you want to give something that extra touch, that extra feel of reality. You go down there, go take a picture of the doorway. Take a picture of that house that looks really cool, and then just draw your picture. Take out. Oh, you don't want the trees? Okay, you don't want these little stanchions. There's somebody on a skateboard. Don't draw that. Draw. There's a picture of Alan Moore, and I think that's supposed to be his buddy Steve Moore with him down in the bottom. Either Steve or they said Jamie Delano was also assisting. This is where.
Yeah, this is like meticulous pre-production that you would do on a movie, and they're doing it on a comic book, which that's some comics should be taken this seriously, and I would hasten to say that not enough comics are taken this seriously. Not that all comics need to be serious comics, but
not enough. Some of the things, like here, back in the day, there was a church there that's now. It's maybe been demolished and a new one's been built or whatever. So you'll have to go back, find old things. If you're doing a historically accurate comic or whatever. There they are. Hanging out. It's Alan Moore just looks like an absolute nut. Every picture with them, you could just imagine, especially like back in 89, 90, whenever this is, they got these pictures. Oh, this is 86 and 94, 98, 99. You just know, like everywhere Alan Moore walks and goes, like there's a flurry of just energy coming out of him, like of just every building he walks into. Like it doesn't matter if you know who he is or not. You look over and he's just, what? There's one in here. Oh, there's a picture of the old toilets. Just have a pot by your bed. Fantastic. There was a bit in here too where they found out the what was it, the bridge he had planned. They were going through part of it, and like the bridge was like at the time it wouldn't have been completed. That's like the first copy I had this cover. So I'm saying, like, this is just for me. This. I think I'm gonna say is my favorite comic. It's the comic that definitely, as a kid, I wanted more of Alan Moore's famous thumbnails.
Not as good as the Violator, the Violator thumbnails, but pretty concise. You can definitely tell what he's looking for.
And that's what I'm saying too. Like for creators, these are the kind of books like to get just to like get a better handle on your craft, and like ways that you can like better yourself, better your work.
Yeah, how to get a handle on your process.
How to deal with, like I said, you got your writer, so you're working with a writer, and that's the first issue. That's 20 pages. Like, you do it that. Hey, Matt, and that's what. I guess I'll go back to the beginning. There is all. Is this? There's a bit where he had talked about it too, like. Where he's like, is this it? No, there's a part where he's talking about like how he was giving a speech about working with him, and like how he reads, like these 2 paragraphs of the script, and he's like, that's panel 1.
Right.
Like he's introducing, like, working with Alan Moore. There's like this huge long monologue of like describing a scene. And he gets to the end of it because it's this whole image of a corner, and like every different person that's on that corner of Victorian London, and it's just panel 1. It's just
right. Right.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is it. Okay, so these are. Yeah, I guess I could have, if I just had read it. It's the introduction. It says, "We didn't often have problems I had to phone Alan about, but this was giving me a sleepless night. I just didn't feel I could keep up the level of authenticity we'd established in the opening chapters. This American swamp lizard waddling around in the foreground." I'm not saying such a thing was an impossibility. I just didn't feel that I could put it in there convincingly with authority. It was me that was at fault, no doubt about it. But if he valued that authenticity, would he be okay with me fudging around that detail? He literally had a crocodile or an alligator in the description. He's like, I can't do that. I can't put in the. He says, yeah, well, that's okay as long as you get in the rest. So here is the rest. These 3 panels. These are the panels as they appear in the printed book, chapter 3, page 5, followed by Alan's script for the scene. Marie Kelly is making her way across the town towards Whitechapel. So we can see it's like background talk. Come and look at. Hey, the boys, here's some toasters. Salt. They're all people shouting in the streets, selling things or whatever. Marie now continues down Commercial Street towards Spitalfields Market, down at the end of Brushfield Street nearest to Christchurch. The church itself probably isn't visible here. In the foreground, we see the bizarre, dirty, sprawling pocket world that is the marketplace. Everything conceivable is for sale or display. In the foreground, a man leads a skinny albino male through the street, a rope about the poor creature's neck. The albino's hair is long and straggly, his pale brows turned upwards in abject misery. As he's led through the filthy, clamorous streets somewhere nearby, a boy holds up a fistful of yellowing haddock, calling out to the passing crowds. Elsewhere, a fat woman with a strawberry mark parades her tray of whelks. From the background, Marie walks nonchalantly towards this press of bodies and vitality, thinking more about the cold sperm trickling down her legs than the various wares upon display. I confess that, unbeknownst to Alan, and swiftly needing a subject for a public reading, I once narrated this actual text with the pictures projected as above. At this stage, I paused, looked at the audience who had been transported into this expansive vision of a surreal street market that goes on forever, and I said, panel 2. And now Marie market crowd approaching us down Brushfield Street. Behind her, dominating the whole scene like a giant standing over Whitechapel, we see the ghastly sepulchral mass of Christchurch, a gothic monstrosity that psychologically overshadows its environment. Around Marie, the street vendors are milling as she walks towards us, ignoring the bustle around her and foolishly turning her back upon Nicholas Hawksmoor's awful, watchful creation, looming there behind her. And then, and then to the third panel in this sequence. Its dimensions of less than 3 inches by 2 inches, hopefully inadequate to the task requested of it. This is the third panel.
Yeah,
Having turned left at the bottom of Brushfield Street, Marie is now walking along Crispin Street towards the Britannica Public House at the corner of Crispin Street and Dorset Street. We can just see a little of the pub over to the right of the background here as we look across the street at Marie from the mouth of an alleyway. In the alley are a boy of 9 and a girl of 10. The boy kneels amongst the filth and rubbish and rotting fruit, his trousers around his knees. The girl, possibly his sister, sits against the opposite wall of the alley with her legs splayed. One of her hands is rooting between her own legs while the other reaches out and takes hold inexpertly of the boy's erection. Both children are grinning enthusiastically, and both are very dirty. Neither of them have any. Oh man, their activities have a sort of squalid and yet pure innocence about them that can perhaps be found amongst those that are born damned. What? Across the street, walking from left to right from the corner of the Brushfield Street towards the Britannia, Marie glances across the street towards the children in the foreground, her expression one of bland disinterest. The children take no notice of Marie whatsoever. Like, that does seem questionable. Like, what is, that's supposed to be the third. That's panel 3.
Yeah, Alan clearly, he just writes a novel and sends it over to these fucking poor artists. Dave Gibbons had to go through the same thing with Watchmen, where he
bizarre. What is all this stuff about the kids there? What the hell is that?
Yeah, you can see how he just kind of, I'm going to not draw kids jacking each other off.
Yeah, I'm not going to put it.
I'm not going to put that in there, so.
I don't know. Yeah, they're back behind. You can't see them. They're somewhere else, Alan. Yeah, they're in there. Behind her hat. You can't see them. Yeah, don't worry. I got it. Alan Moore, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Moore.
Let's. I think that's a good note to end it on, Dr. Ben. Unless you got more, I think we should wrap it up. And
well, that's what I'm saying. This is definitely. I recommend it, despite the fact that it's an absolutely horrific tale. But this is, if you're an artist or if you're a writer, go pick up these books, because like I said, this is exactly the sort of thing to help you better understand like the craft of making comics. Shows you, hey, you know what? And this is the thing, like, is someone going to complain that he was using reference there? He can't complain about that. He took the picture himself.
It's not a 3D
you know what I'm saying?
asset.
Like,
no
not
3D
a 3D
assets
asset.
here.
No 3D assets that would involve at all. But I mean, it's a 2D asset, I guess. So, I guess you're just supposed to imagine all of the black and white art, where you're just supposed to just pull all that out of your brain and like work out the dimensions and perspective. I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're a creator, get these. They're just like I said, From Hell has got to be my favorite Alan Moore work, anyways. But get these backup materials, and it really gives you a good perspective on, or different perspectives on how to make comics. Good, the same as you'd have how to draw comics the Marvel way.
Right.
Another fantasy comic for creators. This is the same level, if not more.
Right. Or Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics.
Exactly.
Well, if you make comics like Alan Moore does, if you write novels to your artist and create comics that way, and you'd like us to take a look at them here on the channel, you can send them to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018, just like Dr. Ben did. Dr. Ben sent me Image Grand Design, which is the cartoonist kayfabe inspired book purporting to tell the entire history of Image Comics through a ton of different creators' visions, including Dr. Ben, who is featured 3 different times in Image Grand Disaster, the companion book to Image Grand Design. And we're going to do a whole episode on all this, and Dr. Ben's going to spill some tea all about the creation and aftermath and blowout of Image Grand Design. So, final thoughts, Dr. Ben, before we get out of here?
The blacklist. We're going to put everybody on the blacklist. Go get, like I said, go get your own Eddie Campbell From Hell companion, and go over my Substack, get a copy of what am I selling? Oh, get a copy of my That's why I gotta get a copy of my From Hell's fake news thing. It'll be you can download a PDF of it. It'll be along with if you want to get a PDF of Stanley Steele's A Tear 1963, you know about all that already. From Hell's fake news is my short little mini comic here, discussing much of the same as we did today, but also I go off about like fake news a lot. Fake news is like the major threat nowadays. They said that's the major thing. Fake news, misinformation. We've got to stop. I would say destroy the tablet of Gilgamesh. That's fake news. Major threat. Fake news. And it also has another of my fantastic dream comics where I dreamt of driving around in a car with Jack the Ripper. Well, with Jack or Dr. Gull, and then I met Simon Hanselman and Nate Garcia. So I'm saying, like, it was like the same way like Rick Veitch was dreaming about comics people. I just started all of a sudden comics people would show up in my dreams. I'm like,
we have an issue. We have an episode dedicated to Rick Veitch's dreams, the Rare Bit Fiends episode. You can find that on the channel, gang. Featuring Dr. Ben comics. That's true.
But yeah, I'll have all these on my Substack, drben.substack.com, and anything that's all I got. Just get out there, keep digging, dig for some Cyrus comics, and From Hell. If you see any From Hell comics, send them to old Kevin Strange. He needs to look at these. Needs to do some reading.
I'm going to be looking for those From Hell's in the Mail gang, and we hope to see you at the dollar bin. We'll catch you next time.